You arrive in New York City looking for your brother. You find a plain government building and walk inside. The sign reads Federal Bureau of Control. What you step into is not a normal headquarters. The interior is larger than the exterior. Corridors shift, rooms loop back. Entire departments feel like they were built on top of something older and stranger than the Bureau itself. This place is not simply owned by the Bureau, it is tolerated by it. The building has a name, the oldest house. It does not behave like architecture, it behaves like a system. You play as Jessie Faden. She is not here for a job. She is here because her brother Dylan was taken from her after an event in their hometown of Ordinary. Jessie has carried that absence for years. The Bureau didn't just disappear a person. It disappeared an explanation. And now Jessie has returned, not to demand truth, but to find the shape of what happened, and the oldest house lets her in. Inside, Jessie finds the Bureau in ruins. People are gone, security doors are sealed. Emergency lights pulse in empty hallways. At the center of this collapse is a dead man in a locked office. Zachariah Trench, the Bureau's director, has shot himself. His gun lies nearby. It is not a normal weapon. Jessie picks it up and the building responds. The weapon changes in her hands. The air shifts. A door opens. A presence takes notice. Jessie is pulled into a ritual space called the astral plane, where an entity known only as the board communicates in fragmented, bureaucratic declarations. There is no interview, no vote. Jessie is appointed director because the weapon accepts her. This is how power works, in control, not through legitimacy, through procedure. The Bureau is under attack by something called the Hiss, not a creature, not a government, a resonance. A frequency that enters a person and overwrites them. Those infected speak in loops. They chant corrupted phrases that sound like language but function like malware. Their bodies float, suspended mid-air, as if their agency has already been removed. The Hiss doesn't rage, it replaces. It turns people into carriers of its signal, and it turns the Bureau's work, containment, classification, control, into a dead system trying to keep operating while the building collapses. The Federal Bureau of Control exists to deal with the world's anomalies, objects that do not obey physics, events that should not be possible, rooms that behave like living things. The Bureau's solution to the impossible is not understanding, it is containment. Files, departments, protocols, classification. A world-ending object becomes a case number. A supernatural event becomes an incident report. The Bureau's language is protective. It turns fear into paperwork. It does not eliminate the unknown. It makes the unknown administratively manageable. That is the Bureau's entire philosophy, and it also is its weakness. Because the Hiss does not care about classification, it cares about access. As Jessie moves deeper into the oldest house, she binds herself to objects of power. A floppy disk, a light switch cord, a service elevator, ordinary objects with non-ordinary rules. Each object grants an ability: telekinesis, levitation, environmental manipulation. These abilities are not presented as powers, they are presented as permissions. In control, you don't earn power by leveling up. You gain power by being accepted by systems you do not understand. Jessie is guided by something she calls Polaris. Polaris does not speak in sentences. It communicates through pulses, directional instinct, and inner alignment. Jessie trusts without being able to explain. The Bureau has its own name for the source of this resonance: Hedron. Hedron Neutron is the stabilizing presence, keeping the hiss from fully overriding the building. And the Bureau builds devices called HRAs to protect their minds from infection. The implication is simple and frightening. Survival in this world depends on maintaining the right signal. Not the right belief, not the right action, the right frequency. Jesse eventually finds Dylan alive, but not intact. He was held by the Bureau as a prime candidate, studied, isolated, raised inside systems that treat human beings as instruments. He has been exposed to the hiss. He speaks with conviction, but not coherence. He is both victim and conduit. The game does not frame Dylan as the villain, it frames him as what happens when a person is shaped entirely by containment. Jesse's story is not about rescuing Dylan, it is about confronting the fact that Dylan was never rescued at all. He was managed. Late in the story, the hiss attempts to replace Jesse's sense of self. The game makes this literal. Jesse is trapped inside an illusory loop, performing meaningless office tasks in a false version of the Bureau, bureaucracy as dream prison. The message is clear. The hiss doesn't just corrupt the building, it corrupts narrative. It rewrites purpose, it turns mission into routine, and it nearly succeeds. Jessie escapes. Polaris is no longer something she follows, it is something she carries. Control ends with containment, not triumph. The slide projector connected to the original event is shut down. The hiss is limited. The Bureau begins to stabilize. Dylan falls into a coma. The building remains locked down. The work continues. Jessie does not walk out into sunlight with answers. She becomes director in full, meaning she inherits not victory but responsibility. The oldest house does not become safe, it becomes manageable. Control is not about secret agencies. It is about systems that grant authority without explanation and expect obedience in return. It is about how bureaucracy turns terror into language. It is about how institutions survive by pretending they understand what they are actually only containing.